buddies. I am recording here with my little special friend. George, can you say hi? Can you say hi to my friend? George, as you, I think our guest teacher shared with you yesterday, George is a little sick. He's been sick since Thursday with a fever and just general ickiness. So we went to the doctor today, and he has just sprouted a new tooth, one of his canines, which is a pretty painful tooth. So I needed to be with him today because he just needs his mama. But the good news is his fever has gone down, and he's on the road to recovery. He's a strong guy, right, Bubba? And I will be back with you guys tomorrow. I'm sorry that I missed today with you guys, but sometimes my babies just need the mama. So I hope you guys had an awesome day. Cannot wait to get started with lesson 13 tomorrow. I'm just recording a new intro, but the video that you guys are about to watch is just just our problems that I was doing last year. So you might hear me use kids' names that you don't know, because I'm just re-recording me doing the problems from last year. But they are very important problems. Hey, Roscoe. Here we go. George is starting to feel a little bit more playful, so I'm happy to see that. And we're watching Minions in our jammies. It's just been a cuddly day. Just need some extra love. Cool. Yeah, so we're getting into new concepts. Please make sure that you watch these problems very actively. Make sure that you feel comfortable with practicing these tomorrow. It'll be nice to get back into rotations after a celebration of learning that took many, many days. And let's take a look, guys. I mean, guys and girls. Lesson 13. Like I said, we're going to be multiplying fractions by fractions. But as you know, when we start something new, we are just going to start with doing some modeling and really thinking about what's happening here. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a fraction model, or kind of this array, and then we're going to write the multiplication sentence, and this one's been done for us. So we're given half of 1/4 of a pan of brownies equals blank pan of brownies. So what we need to do is we need to write the multiplication expression. Some of you guys really struggled with this, and this surprised me on our celebration of learning, just being able to go from the words to the expression. So half looks like this, 1/2, half of 1/4. You guys know that of, when we see of, we are using the operation of multiplication. So half of 1/4, that's 1/2 times 1/4. Okay, so that's half the battle. The other part of this is actually drawing the model. So we start with 1/4. We start with the columns. Cal, no. Cal, no, you need to sit down. We start with 1/4. So the 1/4, Cal, stop whining. It's very distracting. 1/4. You can see here in the columns. So we made 1/4 first, and then we actually cut that, or Eureka, cut that in half into 2 equal parts. And we wanted to see where the 1/2 and the 1/4 intersected. So our 1/4 was this light gray, but then we found 1/2 of our 1/4 within this dark black square. I know it's a little confusing. I think once we do our own, it'll be a little bit more clear. So that's essentially what we're doing. We're trying to isolate the 1/2 of 1/4. So let's look at B here. Half of 1/3 pan of brownies equals blank pan of brownies. So what we need to do first is we need to write our expression. Half looks like this. You guys know that. Of means multiplication. 1/3. So our expression is 1/2 times 1/3. So we're actually finding half of 1/3. So in our model, we're going to be first drawing, we'll pretend that that's a really straight rectangle. We're going to actually be drawing 1/3 first. So I have my rectangle, I have it chopped up into thirds, and I'm going to shade our 1/3. And now we need 1/2 of 1/3. I think this will be easier if I do this in a different color. Let's do this. So we have our 1/3, and now I need 1/2. So we first used columns. Now we're going to do rows. So 1/2 means we're just going to chop this up into 2 parts. That's right, Cal, that's right. So now you can see our 1/3 has now been chopped into 1. Yeah, Cal likes the colors. 2 equal pieces. So if I'm looking for 1/2 of 1/3, that's going to be right here because we're just looking for 1/2 of this 1/3. Okay, I'll do that in another color. 1/2 of 1/3 is going to be this yellow. Okay, and then let's just go ahead and do our multiplication and see if that matches up. So we're going to do our tops first, 1 times 1, and then our bottoms, which is 2 times 3, and then just multiply through. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6, and that's exactly what we have here in yellow. We have 1 out of 6 shaded. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead and look at this C. So that's really what we're working on in lesson 13 is writing our expression and then modeling what we have. So now let's look at C. We have 1/4 of 1/3 a pan of brownies equals how many, what fraction of pan of brownies. So we're looking for our expressions. We have 1/4, 1/4 of means multiplication. No. And 1/3. It's okay, Cal. 1/3. So our expression is going to be 1/4 times 1/3. Cal, you cannot sit on my lap right now. You need to sit on the floor. Mama's doing math. 1/4. Sorry about the whining, you guys. 1/4 of 1/3 is the same as 1/4 times 1/3. We covered that in the beginning of our module. Okay, so before we even do our multiplication, let's go ahead and draw our model. And let's see what this looks like. So we're looking for 1/4 of 1/3. So we're going to draw 1/3 first, and we're going to shade in 1/3. Now we need 1/4 of 1/3. So what we actually have to do is lay our fourths across our thirds. Okay. So do you see how we have now 1, 2, 3, 4 fourths? So what we have here is 1/4. And then our orange, I should have labeled that. What I had shaded there is 1/3. So we've completely isolated 1/4 of 1/3, and I'll color that in gray. So that is our 1/4 of 1/3. Let's figure out what fraction that is. It's just one box, so it's 1 out of how many boxes? Well, I have a 3 by 4 array, so that's 12. So our 1/4 of 1/3 is 1/12 according to our model. Let's see if the math matches up here with our expression. So we're going to multiply the tops first, so that's 1 times 1. And then we're going to multiply the bottoms, which is 4 times 3. And then we have 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 3 is 12. They're the same number. Beautiful. Great, let's just do a couple more here, guys. Oh, oops. Let's check out a couple more here. Let me just erase that really quickly. And we have the expressions written for us already. Well, partially, I guess, and then we're just going to model that. So you guys know 1/4 of 1/4. As far as the expression goes, that would be 1/4 times 1/4. So we're looking for 1/4 of 1/4. So let's start by drawing a rectangle. And we're going to cut the rectangle into fourths. We're going to do columns first and then rows. It's very important we pay attention to that order. So let's look at, we're going to shade in 1/4. And I'm going to go ahead and label that as 1/4. Now we want 1/4 of 1/4. So now we're going to lay 1/4 on top of 1/4. So we're going to now chop this into 4 rows. Try to make them even. So now we've chopped this into 4 columns and 4 rows. So now I'm looking for 1/4. So I made 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and I'm looking for just 1/4. So that's right here. That's this row right here is 1/4, and 1/4 as far as columns go is this first column. What I'm really interested in, or what I'm only interested in, I'll do another color, is where does my 1/4 in green intersect with my 1/4 in blue? Well, that's just right here. We're looking for 1/4 of 1/4. So that's where the green intersects with the blue. So now I have to think about, okay, so this purple section, what fraction does that represent? Well, it's just one box, so my numerator is 1, out of how many? So I have a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 by 4, so that means we have a 16. We have an array of 16, so my purple is 1/16. Let's see if our math matches up here. So upstairs we have 1 times 1. Downstairs we have 4 times 4. Let's just go ahead and multiply through. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 4 is 16. Awesome. So our calculations match with our modeling. That's great. Let's take a look at this one. And this, you guys, I know it's a little confusing. Whenever we start something new, it is confusing. So I acknowledge that. We're going to practice, practice, practice until it's a little less confusing. Let's look at 1/2 of 1/6. I'll change colors. Color pink. 1/2 of 1/6, you guys know, is equal to 1/2 times 1/6. So we're really looking for 1/2 of 1/6. Before we do any calculation, we're going to model. Think about really what 1/2 of 1/6 really means. So first we're going to show our 1/6, which means I need to slice this rectangle up into 6 even pieces, which I feel pretty good about the fact that those are fairly even. Awesome. So we're looking for 1/6. Okay, Cal, hold on. I'm almost done. 1/6 we're going to shade in. And then we're going to label that as 1/6. Okay. Now I need 1/2 of 1/6. So I'm going to lay halves on top of this. And which means we need rows now. So I need to slice this rectangle into 1, 2 even parts. So this is 1/2. So this entire bottom row is 1/2. But I'm not just interested in 1/2. I'm interested in 1/2 of the purple. I'm interested in 1/2 of 1/6, which is going to be this square. That is 1/2 of 1/6. Our 1/6 was the purple. We sliced it into 1, 2 equal sections, and now we've been able to isolate our 1/2 of 1/6. We have 1 box. Now we need to figure out what is our fraction. We have 1 box colored in, so that's our numerator is 1. Out of how many boxes total? So we have a 6 by 2 rectangle. That's 6 times 2, which is 12. Okay, so according to our model, 1/2 of 1/6 is 1/12. Let's see if that matches up with our math up here. So up top we have 1 times 1, which is 1. And then, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. 1 times 1, and then on the bottom we have 2 times 6. Now let's go ahead and calculate. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 6 is 12. Awesome. So 1/2 of 1/6 is 1/12. Cool. So tomorrow in class we will, secret word. Secret word, I think we have some more in the forecast. Secret word is snow. Secret word is snow. I don't know, maybe we'll have a snow day tomorrow. But if we do not have a snow day, which let's be honest, I don't think we are going to be working on modeling our multiplication of fractions. We're finding fractions of fractions now, which means we're finding smaller pieces of values that are already pretty small. Smaller than 1 at least. Okay, I will see you.